was a hell of an athlete and actually had fought in some tough man contests and had a pretty good punch, as I recall. Bob Holly was just a tough old boy from Mobile, Alabama, and he could fight, but he didn't have any experience per se. You had the Godfather, who was, once again, a big old boy and a tough guy and had been a bouncer and et cetera, but he might have even had some boxing experience. I think he had a little martial arts background, but once again, he was far removed from competition and with no really time to train. And you had a few other guys. Can you remember anybody else that was in it besides the big guy I'm going to talk about in a second? Can you even remember?
I vaguely remember.
Well, anyway, it's good that you've forgotten those horrible things, but the point is a bunch of guys got in this thing, and Bart Gunn beat Bob Holly, I believe, on points, because they were judging it as well as knockouts.
Bradshaw was in it. I remember Bradshaw being in it.
Bradshaw was in there. Boy, Bradshaw, once again, tough son of a gun, but, played pro football and was 10 years removed from competition at that point. So anyway, Bart Gunn starts blowing through the competition because at least he had the tough man contest experience and kind of knew a little bit about what he was doing in that environment. Wrestling skill mattered not because the guys were wearing gloves and you couldn't take people down and all that other stuff. So it amounted to a bunch of guys exposing themselves by doing things they weren't trained to do, trying to make this money and trying to get over. And here's what happened. Steve Dr. Death Williams, in a business of tough guys, maybe one of the toughest that ever walked, had been an NCAA All-American wrestler, had been a pro football player, had been an All-American collegiate football player. I have seen this guy in fights with fans in buildings. I watched him and Hercules Hernandez beat up 10 fans unassisted one night in Houma, Louisiana. And everybody says, well, Steve Dr. Death Williams gets in this thing. He's just started in the WWF, and he'll probably win it, and that will propel him on to stardom where he can challenge Steve Austin for the WWF title and blah, 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 and things are going to be rosy, and we're all a bunch of young schoolgirls with shiny new vibrators. We're just grinning. Well, Dr. Death gets in it, and eventually he meets Bart Gunn. Now, once again, the one thing that Doc has never done in his life is actually boxed with gloves. But also, once again, he had not trained for competition in a while. So he gets in there, and to compound things, as Bart is tagging him, but you can hit Doc with a Volkswagen and it really doesn't hurt him, but he, in the process of trying to be mobile in this environment, tears his hamstring. Now you got a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. And he couldn't move out of the way, and Bart caught him with a shot that would have put Mike Tyson under, and down goes Dr. Death, and Bart Gunn wins the Brawl for All, and they cost themselves approximately $5 million in one night because the gate of and the pay-per-view revenue for a Dr. Death Steve Williams versus Stone Cold Steve Austin match properly promoted and built up to at that time would have made millions because on pay-per-view it ain't hard to make a few million. So Doc is down. Bart Gunn is the winner. Well, maybe they've made Bart Gunn a superstar. So here's where they have their second stupid idea. Well, we're coming up on, I believe it was WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken.
WrestleMania 15.
Well, there you have it. We're coming up on WrestleMania. We'll take this new star that we've created and by the way, Godfather got hurt. He was out for a while. Dr. Death was out, and his career never recovered in the WWF, and Vince McMahon, after fucking him by putting him in the thing and having this stupid idea to begin with, or not having it, but allowing it, Doc's career was done in the WWF. He was pissed off, caused problems between him and Jim Ross. They'd been friends for 20 years because of the way that he was treated, and he blamed JR for it. A couple other guys got some bumps and bruises, but they take Bart Gunn, the new superstar that they've created, and they put him in a fight, in a boxing match at WrestleMania against Butterbean. Now, here is a big 375-pound human waterbed. He looks like shit. He is a gimmick boxer, but he has professional boxing experience. And they think, well, this will be a big marquee match, overlooking the fact that the wrestling fans didn't give two shits and a holler about boxing to begin with, and most people didn't know who Butterbean was except for the people who hired him. So they put their new star, Bart Gunn, against Butterbean, this big fat slob that people look at and go, what the fuck is this? And Butterbean knocks him out in a minute.
Yep.
So they killed Bart Gunn, and off he goes. So without a doubt, the stupidest idea that has ever made air in the WWF led to injuries on the talent roster, led to bad feelings amongst the boys who were actually going in there beating each other up. The fans didn't care. Nobody believed it was a shoot anyway. They killed Dr. Death's WWF career, and they cost themselves millions of dollars with that one fight because they were fucking stupid. And if anybody's got a problem with me saying that the Brawl for All was fucking stupid, then I'll have a Brawl for All with them. Because, hey, what the heck? It can't hurt. Because at least I won't do mine on national television. So once again, just another example of they can't admit they're wrestling. They can't stick to wrestling, which is what they're supposed to know. They've got to trick things out thinking that it'll get over with the wrestling fans, but they're so out of touch with what their fans want that they didn't realize that nobody gave a shit. So there you have it, folks. That is my nominee for the stupidest thing that Vince McMahon has ever done, at least on television.